Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to a new music class with Miguel. So today we're going to continue with our music theory uh, topic, okay? And right now we're going to be learning how to form triads. We learned about triads last class, but we learned it within the context of the major scale, of a major key. Now we're going to learn how to form triads in any key and like independent of every key. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to explain exactly what I'm talking about. So first, I mentioned it before in the first video that we did that there are some things you have to memorize. Okay, I'm not asking you to memorize all triads in existence because there are so many triads. It's going to be impossible for you to learn and memorize them all. But you can memorize this 7 triads. Okay, it's only 7 triads that I want you to memorize. CEG, DFA, EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF. Now, in your case, you're going to do it in English, okay? But when I was learning music, I had to learn them in Spanish, okay? Do, mi, sol, re, fa, la, mi, sol, si, fa, la, do, sol, si, re, la, do, mi, si, re, fa, okay? It's like so easy for me to just say them because I had to memorize them, okay? And the more you use them, the better the better you will get at saying them, okay? But now you're going to learn them, of course, in English, okay? CEG, DFA, EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF. Learn all those, memorize all those 7. Why? You will see it, but not yet. So memorize this. Next, things to review and also memorize. First, the triad formula. Now, some of you saw this last year, but there are some new members here in this class, so you maybe not know this. Okay, so we're going to review that. Okay, the formula of the major triad is 1-3-5. The formula of the minor triad is 1-3-5. The formula for the diminished triad is 1-3-5, and the formula for the augmented triad is 1-3-5. Okay, why are these numbers like this? Well, 1, because each number is going to represent one note of the triad. Of course, this is going to be the first note of the triad, then this is going to be the second one, and this is going to be the third one. But why not call it 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3? Why do we call it 1, 3, and 5? Well, simply because, for example, if you have C, E, G, between C and E, you have one note, D. D would be the second note. So this is the third note in that scale. Okay, so since we're skipping one note when making the triad, this is going to be 3, this is going to be 5. Okay, this is something that you have to memorize. Okay, major triad 1-3-5, no flats, no sharps. Minor triad, only one flat on the third. Diminished triad, you have again the flat third, but also the flat 5. And the augmented triad is only one sharp on the 5. Okay, so you have to memorize this again. So you have 7 triads to memorize plus 4 formulas to memorize. That's 11 things that you are going to have to memorize. Good. Let's continue. Now, this is going to be simply a visual representation of what the triads are. I think it's going to be easier for you to understand it, okay? So let me just explain what is this going to be doing, okay? So first, let me just move this right here. Okay, the major one is like this. Here you have the 1, here you have the 3, and here you have the 5. And it's this long, okay? Let's just begin it like this, okay? This is going to be the width of the triad. The minor one, obviously all the ones are going to be parallel to each other. And in the minor one, since we have 5, it's going to be the same as this. But the only difference is the flat 3. So the flat 3 is not going to be here in the middle. It's going to be a little bit before. Okay, so the distance between the 1 and the 3 in major is going to be bigger than the distance between 1 and flat 3. Why? Because because a flat always diminishes the note by half a step, okay? The same thing will happen in diminished. Okay, see, we have the flat 3 right on the same flat 3 as minor, but then we don't have any 5, we have a flat 5. So the flat 5 is going to move before. So the distance between 1 and 5 is going to be bigger than the distance between 1 and flat 5. Okay, so we have 1, 5, but then it's 1 and flat 5. The same thing as 1 and 3 and 1 and flat 3. Okay, and in augmented, again, here you have the 3 is parallel to the 3 right here, but then the 5 is not going to be the same as this because it's a sharp 5. And what does the sharp do? It increases the note by half a step. Okay, so this is 1 and 5, and this is 1 and sharp 5. So the distance between 1 and sharp 5 is bigger than the distance between 1 and 5. Okay? Here you have, remember that a sharp moves the note higher in pitch by a half step, and a flat moves it lower in pitch by a half step. Okay? Continuing. Other things to review. You know this from the first video we saw this year, the triad of the major scale. Okay? The triad that we form on each note of the major scale. So on the first chord will be a major triad, C, E, G, C major. Second is going to be DFA, minor triad. Third is going to be another minor triad, E, G, B. The fourth is major, fifth is major, sixth is minor, and seventh is diminished. There are no augmented triads in the major scale. Okay, there are no, but you still have to know how to make them, how to form them. So this is very easy. You saw this before, but again, I'm reviewing them because it has to be something that is already in your head, okay? There are 3 major triads in the major scale, 1, 4, and 5. And there are 3 minor triads in the major scale, 2, 3, and 6. And there is 1 diminished triad in the major scale, and that is 7, okay? You know this already. Move on. Another thing to review, the double sharp and the double flat. Now, the double sharp symbol moves the note higher in pitch by a whole step instead of a half step. And this X right here is the symbol. Okay, this is going to be the double sharp symbol. So the sharp symbol, the normal sharp, increases the note, moves the note higher in pitch by a half step. The double sharp does it by a whole step. Okay, this is going to be the symbol. This is how you put it in the staff. Remember that in the staff, the double sharp will go on the left of the note. But when you write the note on the with letters, then the sharp symbol, the double sharp symbol goes on the right. Then we have a double flat symbol, which moves the note higher in pitch. I'm sorry, not higher, lower in pitch by a whole step instead of a half step. So again, the flat moves the note lower in pitch by half step. The double flat does it by a whole step. Okay. Why is this important? Because there are some triads, depending on what's the beginning note of the triad, that will have either a double sharp or a double flat. So now that you know this, we're going to be forming triads. Okay, and for that, I will stop presenting this way because I need to write down. So here we have. So here we have the C triad, which is the one that you already memorized. Okay, C, E, G, no sharps, no flats. And you know that since this is a major triad, okay, because C in C major is the 1 chord. You know that. And then you know that since it's a major one, it's 1, 3, 5. The formula is 1, 3, 5. That thing you know. So we're going to be forming all these triads, the minor ones, the diminished ones, and the augmented ones from this CEG and 1, 3, 5 that you already know. So this is what you know, and this is what you're going to be doing. Okay? So if in C major, this E right here is 3, but I'm asking for flat 3, it means that this E will have to be lowered by a half step. And how do we do that? We simply put E flat. Okay? Now this E flat is going to be a flat 3, okay? And since 5 is the same in both, then this is going to be G, no change, okay? Since the numbers that only are going to change are the 3, then 1 and 5 are going to remain the same. So C and G remain the same, and E has to change to E flat because it is a flat 3. The same thing with diminished, okay? Since we have flat 3 right here, we know it's going to be E flat because we just did it, E flat. And then the flat 5 is going to be G flat, okay? And then with the augmented triad, okay? Oh, this. Remember, the augmented triad is going to be represented by this plus sign, okay? So the augmented triad has only one difference from the major one, that the 5 is going to be sharp. So we know that 1 and 3 are the same, so we put C and E. But then the G, it cannot be G because it has to be raised by a half step. So it has to be G sharp. Then we have all 4 triads that begin with C. We have C major, C minor, C diminished, and C augmented. Now this was easy because the beginning triad that we had no sharps and flats. But let's do it a little bit more complicated, okay? So here we have A. Why am I starting with this right here? Because A, the triad that we know from A, ACE, we know it's minor. Why do we know it's minor? Because that triad is the 6th triad of the C major scale, and we know that 6 is minor because chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor, okay? Like here. Here we have ACE, it's minor, okay? You have memorized this already, so you have to know that this ACE is minor. So we put it here. So we're going to turn this into major, okay? The same thing. Since this C right here is going to be the flat 3, to make it a 3, then we have to raise it by a half step, okay? Because the flat 3, 1 flat 3, we have to raise it to make it a 3. So how do we raise it by a half step? By using a sharp. So then this C right here will have to be a C sharp. Okay, and since the 5s are the same, so then the next note has to be E. So now we have the A major triad, C sharp, A, C sharp, E. There's only one difference, 3 and the flat 3. Okay? Yes? Okay, good. Let's continue. Then we're going to turn this into a diminished triad. So the flat 3 is the same, so C remains the same. And then we have the flat 5. So to make this E flat 5, only to put it a flat, E flat. Okay? And then here we have 1, 3, and sharp 5 for the A augmented triad. So we know that the C sharp is the 3, so we put here C sharp. And then we have the sharp 5. So normal 5 is E, so then the sharp 5 is going to be E sharp. Okay? And there you have all 4 triads beginning on the note A. Now let's do it a little bit more complicated, okay? Let's begin with a note that has a flat or a sharp, and that will be this, okay? We're going to find all 4 triads beginning in G flat. But why have I put here this G? So that you can use it as reference, okay? So we know the G, we know the triad formed by G, the one you memorized already is GBD, okay? And you know that GBD is major because it is the 5 chord of C major scale, and the 5 is always major. Let's see here. Here we have 5, GBD, major. So you know GBD is major, okay? So let's go back. So if you know GBD is major, then you know it's going to be 1, 3, 5, okay? So far, so good. So what do we need to do to make the major triad form from G flat? Well, if G turns here to G flat, what do we have to do to B and to D for this to keep the same distance? We simply flat everything. E flat, D flat. Now the distance is going to be the same. They begin at different notes. Here we have GBD. It's this big, GBD. But then I have G flat, but this is bigger. So I have to make everything smaller so that it's the same distance. Okay, so G flat, B flat, D flat, and GBD. Okay, it's the same distance but beginning in different notes. So if we put G flat here, then we have to make all flat for it to keep the same formula. Okay, so that is G flat major. Now let's go to G flat minor. So we have the number one, the one here, which is going to be G flat, the same, remains the same. But then we have this. We have B flat as 3, but I'm asking for I'm asking for flat 3. So we have to reduce this by a half step. How do we do that if it already has a flat? With a double flat. Okay, so this thing will be simply a B double flat. Okay, and that's gonna make it a flat 3. And then the 5 is the same, so the next note is a D flat, same as the other one. Okay, continuing, G flat diminished. Again, the 1 is the same, G flat. Then we have flat 3, the same as this, so it's going to be again B double flat. And the flat 5, since the 5 is D flat, the flat 5 has to be is going to be a half step lower than D flat. So it's going to be D double flat. Okay? So far, so good. And then we have 1, 3, and sharp 5 for G flat augmented. So we know the 1 is the same, G flat. The 3, we have it here, it's going to be B flat. So we know B flat here. And then the sharp 5. Since the 5 is D flat, then the sharp 5 is going to be, you have to raise it a half step. So it's going to be, instead of D flat, it's going to be D. Okay, because D is a half step higher than D flat. Okay, so there we have it. Now, I hope you understood this. If not, you can rewatch all this section right here so that you can get the gist of it, okay? Now, it's not really easy, but it's not really that complicated, okay? If you know all the things that you need to memorize before. If you know this, if you know this, if you know this, and if you know this whole process is not going to be that more difficult, okay? It's just something that you need to understand and really get a hold on so you can make all those triads. So the task is going to be this. I have uploaded in Schoology a staff sheet of paper, okay? So you're going to print it in your house. If you don't have a printer, you can draw it, okay? But if you're going to draw it, please use a ruler. Don't just like do it by hand, okay? Because it's not gonna look very nice. It's gonna look very messy. So if you don't have a printer or if you cannot print it, then simply draw it. After you have drawn the staff paper, you're going to draw the following triads using whole notes, okay? You're going to be using whole notes like this ones, and you're going to be doing all these triads: D augmented, D sharp minor, E, F diminished, F sharp augmented, G minor, G sharp major, A diminished, A flat augmented, B flat minor, B. Remember, if it doesn't say anything after it's going to be major. So this is B major, C flat minor, E flat diminished, G flat augmented, F flat major, and D flat minor. I know it's a lot, but that's why I need you to practice. I'm giving you here an example of what you will have to do. So, for example, if you had to draw C diminished, which is not here, so if you don't copy, C diminished right here, and we put the first 3 notes, C, E, and G. But we know from here that C diminished is C, E flat, and G flat, so we simply put here the flat on the E and the flat on the G, and there you have the C diminished triad. Okay, easy. Each triad really should not take longer than 10 seconds, honestly, okay? And the more you do it, the faster you're gonna get at it. So you're going to do it like this. Okay, you're going to write the triad, draw the triad with the notes and the sharps or flats if they need it, because if not, then you don't need it. And you're going to label the chord here. Okay, C and the diminished symbol or the augmented symbol, etc. I think I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Okay. So do this for today. You have until 9 p.m. to do this. Practice a lot, and I will see you next class. Bye bye.